90% water, and yet there are people in the US who must turn to bottled water to satisfy this basic need. What is the law in the US when it comes to this natural resource, and does it do enough to protect our rights? I'm Christine Giovanelli, and today we are going to talk about our right to fresh or potable water. When we talk about water rights, usually we talk about two different theories of law: Riparian law or prior appropriation law, or a hybrid of these theories. Recall that the US gives most rights to the state to legislate, unless it is an interstate problem like drug trafficking, for example. This is one issue that's generally left to the states. Anyway, let's start with Riparian law, which considers water to be a public good like air or sunlight. In this theory, water cannot be owned per se. Instead, it is included as part of the land it rains or flows through. Mostly the states in the eastern part of the US follow this type of law. Under riparian principles, the right to remove water for drinking or irrigation, or to drain water, the test is reasonable use. The reasonable use test examines the use of the water, extent of this use, and whether its use will injure anyone. In the Western United States, they generally follow the doctrine of prior appropriation, which is basically first come, first served. The theory behind the principle of prior appropriation is that water rights are not connected to land ownership, but rather are something that can be sold or mortgaged just like other property. So how effective have these laws been? The sad truth is not very. The incredible demand for bottled water has been instrumental into hydrating the planet's water resources, causing wells to run dry and local farmers' irrigation to suffer. One cause of this is that bottled water purveyors are being allowed to take over aquifers all over the world. Aquifers are bodies of rock or sediment that hold groundwater. Fryeburg, Maine is one victim of this system. When access to water got tight, the community offered a public spigot until that went dry, and they had to turn to the biggest source of the problem, bottled water. And no one can forget the ongoing water crisis in Flint, Michigan, where their water supply was unsafe to drink. Meanwhile, it was alleged that bottled water companies were given access to clean water in Michigan at a lower price than people who had to buy the tainted water. To solve this problem, they again turned to bottled water. Although this is usually a state problem, this issue isn't limited to private land, but also involves federal lands. In Strawberry Creek, California, 2018, one bottled water producer took 45 million gallons of pristine spring water, paying the federal government next to nothing for it, but making $7.8 billion in sales. It sounds like the Lorax. So clearly these laws aren't enough, but how can we make them better? To render your verdict, check me out on Patreon. If you like this video, check out my other videos, and hit the subscribe and bell icon, which is a way to get an alert every time I post. Thanks.